Yes, what's going on, everyone? Happy New Year. This is the first vlog actually of the new year. And it is January what? It's January 6th today. And today, what we're going to be doing is the Civic trunk is actually done. The only thing that I'm missing is, yes, I know, it's finally done. The only thing that I'm missing right now is some nice LED lights, which is what we're going to do today. So this is going to be the trunk finale. I'm going to showcase the trunk to you guys. I'll show you how I did it, and I can't wait to reveal it to you guys. And but in the meantime, this is going to be part 5, and what this is going to be is we're going to be doing the wiring, and we're going to be installing the pod lights, or I actually got Jeep lights in order to put it in. Let me just show you in just one second. Okay, so I got these on Amazon.ca, Canadian Amazon. I've used these before. Now, be careful when you buy these. There's so many kits out there. But I particularly like this kit. I will place a link on the bottom of this vlog. But what I like about this is how they differ. They differ because this kit has 6 high-end LED chips, and this makes a huge difference because there's a lot of these kits that only have 3, or they have like little squares, not like this, not rounded, but just sort of like like a cross pattern. But this kit in particular is the one that I really like. So for all my interior lighting, I usually go with the rock lights. Why? It's because they're robust, they're super bright, and you can cover quite a large area with these as opposed to running LEDs and stuff like that. So basically, I usually get a 4 or an 8 kit. In this case, I happen to, for the Civic, I happen to get a 4 kit. So 2 are going to go in the interior and 2 are going to go in the trunk. I want to install these prior to unveiling the trunk just so it'll look a lot nicer. I can play with them, and it's also a good opportunity to show you guys what I kind of do. Why do I like this particular kit? Well, the rock lights come in various types. This particular one has 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sorry, 6 Cree lights. And I've used this kit before. I got it on Amazon, I think, for like $70 for 4. It's quite pricey, but it's good quality. It has a control system. In this case, it is a Bluetooth control app. It doesn't have a remote, and it doesn't have a switch or any sorts. So because I'm running it in a show car, it's not really sort of daily driven anymore. I can always turn on and turn off the app whenever I need, or if I need to store it for an extended period of time, I disconnect the battery. If you're going to be installing this kind of a setup in your daily driver, probably a good idea to have a switch. So that way you can always turn it off manually, and that way it doesn't drain your battery whenever you don't want to use it, right? And only kind of turn it on for shows and when you're out there, so you can always plug the switch up. So basically you want to have like a full shut off in order not to drain the battery. In the show cars, I really don't care because I really drive them. So that's why I decided to go just with a Bluetooth app. But I know this particular kit, I've used it before on my GS, and I really liked it. But the bread and butter behind it is it's super bright, and it's super bright probably because of the fact that you can see the quality of these LEDs inside here, and they're Cree style LEDs. They're a lot better. Now, not all rock light kits are the same, eh? So don't think that they're all the same. Buy the cheapest one. No. There's read the reviews, guys. A lot of the times the reviews are truthful from a lot of the purchasers from Amazon. There's a reason why people leave reviews. If it's a crappy product, it's going to get crappy reviews. I've used this product before. I loved it. So without further ado, the kit comes with 4 of these. Comes with rubber mounts. I rarely use these because I basically just have these mounted on the interior or zip tied. Most of the time I zip tie them to spots so that I'm able to use zip ties just because they're easy to remove, right? I don't have to drill into the chassis of the car. So, and zip ties are easy to be removed, and there's no issues. It comes with a controller unit. The beauty about this particular kit, it has a very long connection. So I can disperse these throughout the trunk, not having to worry about cable limitations. Or I can also have them going from the control unit, which I usually put behind the back seat. And then I'm able to run 2 to the interior, and I'm able to run 2 into the trunk. So that's probably one of the reasons why I chose this kit. But without further ado, we're going to install it. What's going to happen essentially is I'm going to run a new harness, a separate harness just for the LED setup. It's going to be fused. I'm probably going to run an 8 gauge wire. I have some here. This should be enough. 8 gauge wire with its own separate fuse box or a fuse. So it's going to be fused to protect, the control unit and the circuit from any overloads. And that way it'll run on its own separate unit. If I want to attach any more control units for further LEDs or any interior goodies, I can do that. So I'm going to run it on a separate harness. Probably a good idea because that way it'll be separate from my main sort of harness, which is going into the air suspension. So they're going to be separate. I'm not going to top off from that harness. I'm going to do a separate one. So we're going to do that in just a second. I forgot to mention, what I will do is I'll also provide a link to this actual kit that I bought. I literally just bought it yesterday. And Amazon Prime, 1-day shipping. You can't beat that. This is the kit right here. And I'm going to put the link to that kit, to this particular kit, and then you guys will be able to purchase it as well if you're interested in getting this particular kit. I do like it, especially look for the 6 Cree LEDs. They make a huge difference because the light output is a lot brighter. So, yeah, here we go. Okay, so when I ran the air suspension, I actually changed up all my wiring. So I did brand new 0-gauge ground for the battery. I did a distribution here, sort of a terminal. I reconnected and I sort of crimped my factory power wires with brand new crimp connections, and I used shrink wrap, obviously. Same thing here, and this is going on its own separate 80 amp relay because of the fact that the digital air management is using a higher rated fuse because of the fact that it's a dual compressor setup. So I was able to do that. I didn't really do a vlog in regards to that, but that's all changed compared to the stock setup. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to run another sort of a circuit. Same thing. I'm going to use shrink wrap, and I'm going to use the crimp connection at the edges, and I'm going to run another one. But what I got to do is the harness go through the firewalls behind the battery. So I'm going to remove the battery. I'm going to run the 8-gauge wire into the interior just so I can get a source for my control box. So we'll do that in just a second. I'll remove and I'll show you guys. So I removed the battery. The harness that I'm going to be going through, or the one that I went through for the air suspension, is behind here. So I got to remove the tray. I didn't want to touch this one. I don't know why. I just don't want to, I think this one was already pre-cut. Maybe the guy before had an audio system, so I didn't really want to do it. It was a clean cut though, so at least none of the wires are cut through. So I basically fed the air suspension wire in there. So I'm going to run the LED pod light, Jeep light through there as well. So I'm going to remove the battery tray. I believe these are 12 mil. And you just basically, there's one here and there's one here, one there. Remove that and you're able to lift the tray out. So we'll do that now. Okay, so I ran the wire through to the interior. There's my 8-gauge. I put back the battery. And what I like to do is with my setups is I like to have a main sort of like a fuse with a blade style, not a blade, but one of these style fuses. And I like to use these sort of fuse holders, really accessible, and they're protected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crimp some 8-gauge connectors onto this wire, and then that way I'm going to have probably a 40 amp fuse for now as the main, and then in the interior I'm going to do a distribution box that's still going to be fused to go into the individual sort of connectors. I'm probably going to get a 4 distribution box, just sort of thinking in the future. And that way I'll be able to connect many sort of control Bluetooth boxes if I want to go expand in the future and kind of run everything off of this sort of a separate harness for sort of like lighting accessories for the interior. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so here's the 80 amp for the air suspension, and there's another 80 amp. I think maybe 80 amp is a little bit of an overkill. I'm probably going to scale it down to 40 amp because I'm not really running such a huge high current circuit for the LEDs, to be honest with you. So probably a 40 amp will be enough. I don't want to have too much of a fuse and then something catch fire and for it not to blow in case there's some kind of a short. I don't think I'll have a short, but I only have 80 amp fuses for now. So I'm going to run this up for now. I'm going to see if I can get a 40 amp in the future and then run it up into the interior and then kind of have its own, properly wired circuit, probably wired, battery ground that doesn't move, and these kind of terminals that are sort of ring terminals and they're crimped on there, and so it's a nice clean setup, and that way we have braided protected line going in through, and there's no issues, and there's an extra level of protection on the actual wiring harnesses, so they're nicely securely done and they're all running. So that way I can always add up, and I can add up a distribution inside for the actual individual LED modules that could be fused themselves as well for extra protection. So that's it so far for the wiring for that. And now I'm going to expand it through and I'm going to pull it in and connect it to the back. All right, so this is the reveal. I wired the LEDs inside the interior. There's the management running. I don't have the app yet on the main Android deck, but that's coming. I'm gonna get that set up. Whoa! Let's turn down the volume here. So I'm gonna preload the app so I have it on my Android. That's where it is. That's the controller. I mounted 2 LED pods. As you guys can tell, look how bright this stuff is. Look how bright it brightens up the interior. So it's pretty wild. I'm just going to turn off the light so we can see the trunk setup, the piece de resistance, and there you go. You guys already kind of seen it. But this is pretty wild. So this is with two Jeep lights. Look how bright it is. It's pretty wild. This is what I'm talking about. So they're wired up here, one there, and then one there, and then literally 2 in the interior. So the whole interior is like lit up. Like, this is nuts. So this is pretty wild. So I can change the colors as well. This is the white light. I can go blue. So this is pretty wild. Like, one kit, and it's just insane. So here it is, 2022. Here he comes, squeaky clean air in the house. Oh yeah.